The year my world split into before and after was when I turned 10. My parents left a sticky note on the fridge saying, "Stay with friends, back in a week, love you," no signature, just Mom's neat handwriting that felt like a brush off. They drove off to California that morning. My brother Daniel posted a photo with his backpack, captioning it, "Adventure Time." And my sister Chloe added sun emojis. I sat on the front steps with my backpack, convinced they'd come back any minute. But the streetlights came on, and a neighbor's dog barked like I didn't belong there. I microwaved a frozen pizza I didn't even like and ate, standing at the counter, pretending the oven hum was company. By day 3, I told myself it was just a mix-up. By day 5, another thought crept in, maybe it wasn't an accident. Being the middle child always meant fading between the star and the baby. Daniel collected trophies. Chloe had piano lessons, braces, and themed birthday parties. I had dependable, which grown-ups really meant invisible. But this kind of silence hit different. 7 days in, I was walking home from the park with a stack of borrowed magazines when a shiny silver car pulled up. The window rolled down. Emily, the voice was familiar but distant. Aunt Margaret, the successful one who'd stopped coming to family gatherings years ago. Mom always called her arrogant, which I now understand meant she set clear boundaries. Her eyes took in my sweaty clothes and tight smile. "Why are you out here alone? Where are your parents?" "California," I said. It sounded ridiculous, like they'd gone to another planet. "And you're here." "I see," she muttered. Then, under her breath, something I didn't catch. "Get in. You're not staying alone tonight." Every stranger danger talk rang in my head, but my stomach, empty from days of crackers, argued louder. The car smelled like fresh leather and clean air, not perfume, just money that stayed new. She drove to a diner with checkered tables and tall milkshakes. When the burger and fries arrived, I stared like they might disappear. She didn't rush me. She let me eat first, then asked about school, friends, what I liked. "Math," I said, though mostly the puzzles everyone skips. That got a small nod, like she'd just filed something away about me. When we reached my street, she idled and said, "Pack a bag." I blinked. "What?" "You're not sleeping in an empty house while they tan. Pack, Emily." Some moments swing open like hidden doors. Her condo felt like another world, the guest room bed too perfect. I sat on the corner, scared to wrinkle it. She leaned in the doorway, eyebrow up. "Planning to sit stiff all night?" I whispered I didn't want to mess up her things. "They wash," she said with a warm half-smile. "Stuff is for using, not fearing." Before we dive into my story, let me know what time you're watching this and from which city, so I can see how far my story has traveled. Stories like this are why I share my voice here. If my story touches you even a little, a like or comment really keeps me going. It reminds me these stories matter and that we're in this together. Hit subscribe so you don't miss more real family drama that hits close to home. Everything began to change in 2008 when my parents left me behind at age 10. The note on the fridge said, "Stay with friends, back in a week, love you, no name," just Mom's handwriting that felt casual. They headed to California early that day. Daniel uploaded a picture with his backpack, captioning it, "Adventure Time," and Chloe added wave emojis. I waited on the stoop, backpack ready, thinking they'd pull up any second, but the sun set, and a neighbor's dog barked. I microwaved ramen I hated and ate at the table, pretending the fan was conversation. By day 2, I convinced myself it was a mistake. By day 4, another idea stuck. Maybe it was on purpose. As the middle kid, I always filled the gap between the standout and the favorite. Daniel got medals. Chloe had art classes, glasses, and sleepovers with themed snacks. I had reliable, which adults meant unnoticed. But this silence felt deliberate. 6 days later, I left the library with magazines stacked heavy. The heat blurred everything. That's when the silver car slowed, window lowering. Emily, her tone was familiar but distant. Aunt Margaret, the one who'd skipped family events since I started school. Mom called her self-centered, meaning she drew lines. Her eyes scanned my messy hair and forced smile. "Why are you walking alone? Where are your folks?" "California," I said. It sounded silly, like they'd gone to space. "And you're here." "I see," she murmured. Then, something under her breath. "Get in, you're not alone tonight." Safety warnings rang, but my stomach, empty from crackers, argued louder. The interior smelled like fine upholstery and fresh air, not perfume, just money that stayed fresh. She drove to a diner with vinyl seats and pies under glass. When the burger and shake came, I stared like they'd vanish. She didn't push. She let me eat, then asked about classes, friends, interests. "Math," I said, "mostly the puzzles everyone skips." That got a small head tilt, like she'd filed something useful. When we reached my block, she idled and said, "Grab a bag." I stared. "What?" "You're not crashing in a dark place while they vacation. Pack, Emily. Some moments unlock paths like secret keys." Her condo looked like a magazine, the spare room bed too plush. I perched on the edge, scared to crease it. She stood in the doorway, brow raised. "Planning to sit stiff all night?" I muttered. I didn't want to ruin her linens. "They clean," she said with a gentle smile. "Items are for use, not caution." Morning brought smoothie in a stemmed cup. At home, ours were chipped mugs. I gripped hers carefully. "It's just drink, not a contract," she joked. "Sip." When the counselor asked who for my review, she said, "I will." Those two words loosened a knot inside. I didn't know how to handle kindness. When she bought pants and tops, I hid the tags, sure she'd return them. When she gave pocket cash, I saved it and ate plain, because spending felt like taking too much. It took 8 days before she caught me in the kitchen past midnight nibbling crackers. "Why?" she asked from the dark. "Are you practicing for squirrels?" I said I didn't want to use too much. She warmed stew and slid it over. "If it's here, it's for everyone living here that includes you." I nodded, throat burning, promising no tears in the bowl. Crying felt too much, and I didn't want to owe more. I kept expecting my parents to show up, demand I come back like a borrowed thing. But days stretched, then weeks no knock, no call. Daniel's posts showed hikes, captioned "Sibling Bonds," "Chloe with Mountains." My name never appeared. Aunt Margaret, the one who left gatherings early, became my steady. The shift felt strange, but safe. In the first months with Aunt Margaret in Chicago, routines started forming. She tapped my back when I slouched. "Stand straight, Emily, you're not a question mark. People trust you more when you act like you trust yourself." At first it sounded cheesy, but soon I caught myself mid-slump, adjusting, pretending assurance until it felt real. Teachers noticed. I started participating, volunteering answers, even joining math club after she offered ice cream as incentive. At my first contest, my knees shook, but I solved the equation, arguing logic over guesswork. When the judge called my win, I looked back and saw Aunt Margaret clapping, the quiet kind that said, "Knew you could." At home, she wasn't just guardian, she was everyday wisdom. She didn't lecture on effort or thanks, she showed it. When I asked for a new phone, she said, "Fine, how much have you saved?" I stared. 0. "Then you'll value it double when you earn it." So I took a paper route, delivering in rain. My first check, $85, I waved like a trophy. She didn't take it. She drove me to the bank. 2 rules: save half, spend half. That way you enjoy now without stealing from later. I sighed then, but later I realized that sentence framed everything I built. Holidays used to be overlooked, now they carried simple fullness. Her gifts weren't flashy, just thoughtful, a used calculator that felt reliable. A jacket, she said, matched my problem-solving look. Meanwhile, my phone pinged with posts from reporters, classmates, strangers. Daniel's updates showed awards, captioned, "Family Pride, Chloe with recitals." No one wrote, "Miss you." The ache lingered but didn't drain me like before. It reminded me home could mean more than blood. One birthday, she gave a small device engraved Hayes and Emily. "Progress," she said. I puzzled, "Progress?" She grinned, "Because that's us. You're building. I'm learning companionship." Words failed, so I hugged her, awkward, like relearning steps, but she held firm. That night in the app, I wrote, "You don't need kin ties for shared space." By 14, she took me to her studio summers. I feared the tailored outfits, gleaming desks, people who moved like rules bent for them. During greetings, she whispered, "Ease they tie shoes, one at a time. Some trip doing it." I laughed, tension easing. That became our quip when I shrank, "One at a time, kid." She showed listening before replying, reading intent over words, clasping hands firmly. Half bluff, she murmured. The rest shrinks from existence. Do neither. That was the first time I believed I could build beyond survival. At 15, expecting a card and nod, she handed a modest planner. Log observations, she said, even minor ones, especially those I traced the binding, half wary. Thanks. I stumbled unfamiliar with lasting things. Later, my phone vibrated image of my parents, Daniel, Chloe, in coordinated outfits by a perfect park. Caption, Thompson Traditions. No label, no note, not even thinking of you. I gazed till it faded to colors. I opened the planner to blank first and entered, things here serve use, not dread. Then if in this residence it serves all dwellers. Lastly, I dwell here. The phrases seemed bold, like borrowed bravery. Yet closing and fingering initials, something stirred unfamiliar yet cozy. Not security yet, but its outline sketched lightly. I didn't realize then the cafe booth and this tool would hinge turns. Years on in leather-scented law, those entries would spine me as others faltered. For now at 10, curled in linens whispering fresh over worn starting grasp, one wild fact I wasn't throwaway. Not overlooked, merely misplaced. And someone had claimed my spot, sliding me home. By 2014, when I was 16, Aunt Margaret's guidance shaped my choices. College wasn't in my parents' plan for me. Daniel got scholarships, Chloe the spotlight with awards, and me practical, meaning stay low. But with Aunt Margaret, I broke that. She didn't gift fees, she made me earn each bit. We pored over forms at the table amid aid packets and loans until figures blurred. Scholarships lead, she stressed. Grants follow. My aid plugs holes, not foundation. So I applied one for minorities in nursing I drafted on community care, though my experience was bandaging scrapes. Another for offspring of artisans. I wrote on creativity and healing, even if my closest was drawing stick figures. Step by step, I pieced a path. When the letter from Lakeview University came, Aunt Margaret reviewed it like a contract she'd sealed. Well done, she said, eyes gleaming. Now show them right. Move-in was frenzy parents hauling crates, balloons floating, all tearful. Mine, absent no text, no luck wish. Aunt Margaret lugged up 4 flights in humid August shirt damp, but she barred me from heavies. This my yearly exercise, she quipped. Don't tell my coach, I perspired. When the dorm settled, I took in mismatched covers, garage sale light, faint clean scent, and pang hit. She saw and said softly, Don't seek them here, Emily. Aim ahead, that's your course. I managed a nod, throat constricted. Before departing, she slipped an envelope. Inside her block print, if doubt, belonging glance mirror you arrived, sans them. I pinned it in my schedule and carried 4 years. Initial months rough, I felt outsider, the girl in used sneakers, toting laundry scent bags over luxury. But Aunt Margaret rang Sundays steady, sometimes ribbing. So, Miss Honor Roll still on soup and grit. Hardly, I'd reply. Fine, she'd counter. Hardship hones. That pattern anchored me, her tone a pull. Sophomore, I met Andrew Mitchell, the type who eased rooms. We connected at a health fair. He staffed booths. I faked knowing bandages. He demonstrated. I eyed but allowed. We dated gradual, genuine. Andrew wasn't rescuer. He didn't fix me. He respected, and that trumped all. During exams one eve, he queried, why double verify even minor? I paused, then said, long time, I was the oversight no one mended. He didn't platitude, he clasped my hand and said, let's ensure no one skips you now. That instant I knew he viewed me not as discarded middle but as one who'd forged her glow. By junior, an old shadow rose Claire Andrews' ex, the sort who twisted regret to show. She popped at events, beaming refined, praising my outfit while scanning for watchers. Initially, I thought paranoia. But one eve she mentioned Andrew met her for lunch on a project. When I asked, he admitted she contacted, said needed input. I figured no issue. It shouldn't, but that ancient tug of replacement forgotten yanked back like muscle memory. That night, Aunt Margaret's line replayed, half-world fakes, other shrinks from being due neither. So no charge, no beg, I stated. Next time, let her seek another's kindness. Andrew agreed, no defense, no push. That simple yield spoke volumes. By senior, all synced, I gained nursing degree, not flashy but firm mine. Aunt Margaret front row applauding loud enough Dean glanced. After she gave a slim stethoscope, "Use this for cases you'll honor," she said. I grinned. Not my signature. She laughed. One day, heal first, boast after. While peers partied that night, I lingered in dorm, rereading the app she'd gifted at 10, now packed. Entries brimmed wisdom wins tiny gratitudes. One leaped, "If they erase you, recall this. You scripted your segment." I beamed I had, and I'd continue. In 2025, Aunt Margaret's energy began fading noticeably. She canceled meetings, citing busy, but her voice thinned. One evening, I dropped unannounced, finding her napping in her chair at 7, the TV droning ads to empty. When I nudged her shoulder, she woke quick, smiling from the doorway. Long day, I guess, dozed, but the grin missed her gaze. Signs piled pill vials on counters, her grip shaky, pouring tea. She'd repeat anecdotes in one chat. I spotted she did me, noticing. We slid into unspoken ignore. She still quizzed me, calm, steady, as when I built from scraps. "You're thriving at clinic," she said once post my rant on tough patient. "Recall jobs swap you fast, people don't if select wise." That phrase topped any eval. I didn't grasp it, prepared for her absence. Months passed, my job steadied, my footing solid. Andrew and I synced his sales role, my nursing shifts, both stable. But each cough she dismissed or worry she waived, that solidity fractured more. Then a Tuesday the call buzzed early, world half awake. I delayed answer, third ring on line, Laura, her assistant, voice breaking. "Ms. Hayes, sorry Margaret, collapsed in session, they've rushed her to Mercy Hospital." The drive streaked lights and heart thump in ears. Reaching her room, she seemed tiny amid white. Yet spotting me, she crooked, a grin. "Don't gloom," she rasped, told them free room, 5-star minus meals. I tried, chuckle throat raw. "You frightened me," I murmured. She shrugged, light. "First for all." Then gentler, "Sit, kid." She waited till the space hushed, just beeps and distant steps. You know, her tone raspier. "I figured your mom would teach this. Stand firm, handle funds, debate, sans yell, but glad me." "Don't speak so," I whispered. "Like what? Like you're—" I halted. She gave half grin from heart. "You've topped all hopes, Emily. Just one recall." "What? You're not surplus, never." My sight fogged, I blinked rapid, no tears prevail. She noted and smirked light. "If damp these linens, you foot cleaning." I laughed, sound split mid. But for beat world normal again. She stayed days, then home slower, hushed, feigning, unchanged. We skipped the fright, but knew invisible shift. That last holiday she gave a package gold wrapped. Inside the app she'd gifted at 10, not blank. Each entry filled brief tips, jests, doodles, even taped cafe slips with scribbles. "Best latte 2010 worth calories." Final screen stopped my breath, her script shaky but clear. "If they attempt erase, recall this, you authored your part." I looked, throat knotted. "You've entered all years." She shrugged. "Couldn't let you hoard good phrases." I leaned, embraced, not cautious, real. She chuckled, "Easy, crack a bone." But I clung longer. Because instinct said last hear that chuckle, same space. After Aunt Margaret's death in late 2025, arranging the funeral brought unexpected visitors. The call came early. I didn't answer immediate, third buzz on end. Laura's tone fractured. "Ms. Hayes, so sorry Margaret passed peacefully tonight." World muted, I sat, frozen phone gripped, staring wall like focus could rewind. She meant to be fine, keep jesting on aging and diet, not vanish sudden. Days blurred, calls, papers, setups. She'd named me handler, of course, no other grasped details. Which blouse she termed business, which tunes she disliked, how she hated lilies, preferred plain daisies. The ceremony small, refined, as she'd prefer mix. Close pals, few partners, those who counted. I stood by her photo, nodding through sympathies that rang distant like underwater. Then they entered my parents, Daniel, Chloe, striding chapel like event invite. My mother hid behind large shades, big enough mask eyes and guilt. My father shook stranger hands, solemn on family loss, though not spoken Margaret in 18 years. When they saw me, faces flashed, shock, remorse, calculation mixed. "Emily," my mother gasped, clutching arm, "we didn't realize you and Margaret so tight." I withdrew soft. "You never inquired." My father coughed, slipping preacher mode. "Your aunt exceptional kind, prosperous, always kin." That term near made me snort family. Daniel's voice cut sugar sharp, so when will reading I mean Aunt Margaret well off? Chloe sighed, tweaking gold bracelet, hope she aimed, keep legacy united the condo cars all. For instant I wondered dream or harsh script. She not buried, yet they circled assets like vultures sensing fresh. I skipped, reply, turned, walked. Within days, flood texts, voicemails, media pings. My mother's tone fake warm, sweetie we ought, reconnect kin, all we got. Then Daniel's note in inbox, should discuss property soon. Chloe sent heart emoji, tried grief cute. Soon Aunt Margaret's lawyer, Mr. Thomas Reed, rang, reading set Monday morn. Said might lively, your aunt precise on wishes. I touched worn app fingertip tracing screen. If they ever try erase, recall this, they about learn, confuse, calm with frail. And I about honor vow to self and woman who taught stand firm. The will, reading in early 2026 at the lawyer's office in downtown Chicago, grew tense. Heavy drapes, dark desks, chairs forced straight backs. Air held hush, each inhale like evidence. Mr. Thomas Reed sat end-long oak table. My family opposite my parents, Daniel Chloe, clad costly black. My mother wiped dry eyes with silk handkerchief. My father laced fingers like sermon ready for gifts. Daniel's device lit under table, Chloe leaned whisper, think she left us the loft. I sat across app on lap pulse, even simple gray outfit, no gems, no shield. Didn't require. Reed cleared throat, we gather review last will testament Margaret Hayes. Tone exact measured. Started standard debts, cleared minor gifts, charities, staff bequests. My family shifted, feigning patience, nearly humming avarice. Then flipped page on rest Ms. Hayes' estate. Daniel edged ahead, jewels glinting. Chloe folded hands, awaiting blessing. My father eyed me, smirk, half sympathy, half caution. Reed read deliberate, each term sharp as blade, to my distant kin who recalled me solely when my wealth fit their wants. I bequeath 0. Quiet, shattered room, my mother gasped. Daniel's jaw dropped. Chloe blinked, dazed. He's kidding, right? Reed didn't halt, turned sheet to my niece Emily Hayes, forsaken at 10 yet present, since I bequeath full estate, all holdings, properties, funds, investments. For breath no one inhaled. Then 4 stares fixed me. Daniel first snapped, voice quivering. Impossible, she hardly knew her. I held steady. She knew me 18 years, you quit noticing. My father's hue reddened. You twisted her, turned her on kin. I placed palm on app fingers. Outlining edge. No, you managed that day you left note fridge. Chloe tried honeyed. Come, Emily, you not keeping all or you were kin. That term kin. I exhaled slow, smiled, not cruel, not smug, just tired. Funny. I said 18 years quiet, not much kin but sure. Now money involved, suddenly related. Mr. Reed. Shut folder, soft click. Will solid Ms. Hayes clear any challenge dismissed? Quick. My mother mouth open, then shut. Disbelief soured to fury, same expression years back, when saw I no longer needed their nod to be. I adjusted, dress rose. If excuse I have matters, attend Mr. Reed, thanks time. Daniel hissed, this not done. I met gaze level, it done, when you ceased calling me sister. Then pivoted, exited. Outside, air crisp, sharper, purer like world exhaled me. Light reflected glass facade brief blind. In flash I viewed self, not frightened 10-year-old backpack, waiting someone never arrived but woman edge her ground precise where she selected. Several months later, in mid-2026, the probate disputes led to lasting fallout. My family hopped attorneys seeking cracks, but each confirmed conduct barred them from bulk clause unbreachable per Illinois codes. No theatrical trials, just gradual drain on claims, legal costs mounting. Their optional shares evaporated, secured by terms I enforced as handler. Subdued downfall, fulfilled beyond spectacle. I refocused on the condo restocking racks with her designs rewalling kinshots, reclaiming area from their absent marks. I restored her workstation, sitting feeling tied, like time bent a firm, recovery viable. Spaces warmed anew, recollections defying bids to wipe. My family's sphere narrowed, though not destitute, constrained capital couldn't fuel status hunts. They held funds but no sway amounts tied essentials, denying leverage. Satire cut, he ridiculed my modesty, yet now faced shunning at functions, whispers in shops, ban from groups once commanded. Tumble-centered standing, not finances alone, folks, seeing as covetous outsider maneuvers rebounded. They strove maintain fronts, but pressure showed rigid poses, contrived beams, guys slipping. For me, Era signified liberation from shadow, directing vigor into her trust funding grants for nurses, like her startup routes and schemes, teaching young females ethics over flash. Delight returned habits, blending tea in my galley, hosting pals who prized authenticity, chuckles flowing, sans anticipating slurs. Equilibrium reinstated, legally, sentimentally sown, fears uprooted, supplanted by fortitude. That her supreme offering, not millions but awareness, benevolence, endures over malice, dignity, unbreakable. Reflecting route wasn't riches but verity surfacing despite burial efforts. My family wove net belittling me, effacing my roots, handling me as intruder in our abode. For ages I thought they prevailed, but when records unveiled, exploits severing entitlement seemed fate, murmured equity arrives patiently. My metamorphosis topped all, no more anticipating assemblies or stifling sobs. I stepped spaces, chin elevated, recognizing worthiness as potency, enduring past pretense. Inversion, absolute, they exile me, anchored solidly. In reversal, I discerned parity, my aunt advocated equity, surpassing wealth. I muse if my family selected esteem, viewing me as kin, not hurdle. They could have partaken solace, alliance, perhaps affection, post-loss. But conceit scripted collapse. Traits they derided, stable, compassionate, tender, emerge triumphant. Existence transmutes taunts to shields, reductions, proof of triviality when disclosed. That's equity currency can't acquire imprinting profounder than ledgers. Now, steered by her recollection, I grasp one precept: never equate benevolence with vulnerability, since subtlest resilience frequently secures resonant triumph. If this narrative connected, thanks, it signifies volumes as each watch, like remark recalls undervaluation's toll and tenacity's resonance. If you concur, virtue outlives malice, and worthiness reclaims abode bolster with like enrollment or disclose what resonated deepest. Your involvement propels these narratives, and I'm thankful. This isn't just one family's drama, it's a reminder that in the high-stakes world of American success, where people chase empires at any cost, real legacy comes from protecting what's right. Through all the manipulation and power grabs, I learned that patience plus proof can turn the tables on even the smoothest operators. My takeaway: never let greed make you forget the people who matter, because in the end, the law and life itself have a way of evening the score. That a lesson anyone facing family betrayal can carry. Dignity wins, and building a life on integrity, not illusions, is what lasts. If this version feels perfect, we can call it done. If you want any tiny polish or tweak, just say the word.